We'll stand for the pledge. If you please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first part of this meeting is public hearing, talking about downtown pedestrian improvements.
Sign-up sheet.
And do you want to do an overview, or you want?
Mr. Brian Breslin from Du Bois & King, he's going to present today's, the topic for today.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, everybody. My agenda for this presentation is to give an overview, provide a project history, go through the project development process, go in detail. Yes.
Can you please speak louder?
Okay.
Could everybody please speak louder? We got a lot going on.
If you wait a half a minute or two, that noise on the background, it'll stop.
I will be discussing the conceptual plans and then from there going over the project status, schedule, and cost estimates, and open up the questions. For project history, what got us here was two studies. There was a pedestrian lighting, pedestrian improvement study by a consultant, and then it was a 2020 range, 2019 range. Around that same time frame, we did a revitalization study with another consultant in that same time frame. With that information, the town applied for the bike and ped grant for the 2021 cycle and was awarded a grant for that, and what's last right here right now. Project development process. Because the town was awarded federal funds, you need to go through the V-Trans municipal assistance section development process. In terms of plan development, that's 4 stages of plans: conceptual, preliminary, final, and contract. Each one of these reviews is getting reviewed by the town and V-Trans. And the other thing with federal money is the NEPA process, the National Environmental Policy Act. With that, we're just trying to document and minimize environmental impacts associated with this project. With that, I'd like to present the conceptual plans. The project generally begins at Liberty Street and North Main Street and extends north along North Main Street to approximately Dollar General or North Park Place. The work is occurring along the east side of North Main Street, and then portions of the work is also occurring on the west side of North Main Street, adjacent to the town green. Work to be performed on this project includes reconstructing the sidewalk, curbing, drainage, landscaping, lighting, signage, pavement markings, and other ancillary highway improvements. I'll leave the plans here for anybody who wants to look at the plans afterwards. I'm on sheet 3 now, the conventional symbology and legend sheet. Each one of these symbols is associated with an object or a line style. So if you went to the plans and you saw a symbol, you just refer to here and know what it is. On sheet 7, these are the visual sections for the project. There's a cut, a section of earth, and look at it sideways. This is what we're proposing. In general, we're doing a second curve on doing new curving, replace the sidewalk.
You gotta talk louder, huh? I'm sorry. You really.
I know, there's so much.
Can you come closer?
You're welcome to go up closer.
I can't hear anything.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay, I'll try yelling.
We're so loud, yeah, we're just move this up a little bit.
Here, I'll move closer too.
I mean, now I can read it.
Each one of these sections represents different stations along the project. This area up here, we're just going to work in this area. The dotted line is just existing ground or existing surface. And there's just very subtle variances in the typical section. I'm now on sheet 10, detail sheet 2. This is just showing a sidewalk detail. The project is currently proposing 5-inch Portland cement concrete sidewalk through driveways. We're going to be transitioning to 8-inch concrete sidewalk and deeper sub-base material, and this is just a detail for the contractor to follow. I'm now on the lighting detail sheet. This is just general details of what's going on with the lighting foundation for the light pole and trenching for the electrical wiring. The one thing I wanted to point out, this is proposing governmental lighting. It's going to match what's going to be installed in the park lighting project. As of right now, we don't know. As the project is currently out to bid for the park lighting project, we don't know what the manufacturer is going to be, but whenever we do find that out, we will need to match this for the downtown section.
Is that conduit between the
Yeah, there will be underground conduit provided. And then underneath the North Main Street, into the park lighting project, tying into the existing power meter that we're tying into the park lighting project. We're proposing to put the lights 2 feet away from the curb when it's adjacent to parking so that nobody is backs into trying to hitting it.
Is that the same spot where those trees are now?
Thereabouts, yes. When I get to the plan sheets very shortly, I can point those out. Here we go. This is the project layout sheet. This sheet is intended to lay out sidewalk and curbing. I also am going to be showing you signs and lines and lighting and landscaping sheets. Liberty's sheet for reference is right here. We have a bulb out proposed right here. This is the curb line right here. There's another bulb out here across the park and ride. For reference, this line work in here and here is the park and ride line work. There's also going to be another mid-block crossing with bulb outs here across from the gas station. For reference, the line work that's shown as a triangle, that's a cut limit or the project impact limits, and it's going along the building face through here. And then on this side is a circle. That's just going to be a fill limit. That's where we're tying into the existing ground, placing a little fill over the top of it. Again, sidewalk, reconstructing sidewalk along here. This area that is now parking is going to be a mini town green area, green space area. There's going to be a sidewalk along the outside of it here and here. And the other thing I want to point out on this sheet is the existing path for pedestrians going in this way through the park. They're just walking across pavement. We are going to make that a path. This is the bus parking area right here, bus pull-off area here for reference.
Just a question before you leave that one there. Where the outside sidewalk is, there's also parallel parking that you're gonna show us on a different sheet? Okay.
Going back to Liberty Street, where you got that bulb out there, where the wooden soldier is, there's a 4-foot area there that's supposed to be painted, no parking, no driving on. It hasn't been painted like that in years, only once that I know of, and it's gotta be done again. People drive right down through there, right back to the building, somebody's going to get hit coming off into that sidewalk, it's
Or you, on Liberty Street you're talking about?
This will be curbing now, once the project starts, that'll be curbing, so.
Yeah, but not on
It
Liberty
won't be
Street.
right. because-
Yeah, but that's a different project though, John.
Okay.
Not really this project. Can I ask a question here as well? The sidewalks, there are, old coal fill spots along the building lines. Has that been taken into account?
What's along
There's coal chutes,
Going down underneath.
into the buildings. Has that been taken into account?
And the other,
No.
and another thing, at the laundromat, the steam pipes that used to heat the sidewalk are still in the ground.
Where, I guess I need to know where the coal chutes are located.
I'm not exactly sure,
You can tell
but
because
several,
one of them right now is where they put, where the fill pipe is for the building for stands.
yeah, I know, I just know that there were them, and I don't know, they've never been taken out or filled in or reinforced or anything like that. I think that we
Aren't
should,
there
we
a
should,
couple buildings still using coal?
No.
well, I don't know that, but they're not using a coal chute setup. It's just they're under there
The
someplace.
other thing, on their part, between the two entrances on the east side, there's a big fill.
6:30.
The underground storage area.
Made the important part.
Reservoir, stormwater and everything. That's what it is.
I guess I might know that. Would you want to point where is
Well, I
this?
know where the EV parking, before the charging was?
Is that moved?
Yeah.
Right, we can talk about it, yeah.
Okay.
Just before we leave that to the, how wide is the sidewalk?
In this area, it's probably closer to 10 to 15 feet, matching existing conditions. This for reference is 5 feet. If you want 5 feet, you can narrow it down to certain sections.
Probably was better for a snowfall.
You narrow it down if you need to, if there's an obstacle like a pole or something, but generally matching what's existing with this area. Project layout sheet 2. Match line from matches the match line from the previous sheet. The sidewalk, we're proposing to put new sidewalk to the building face in this area. And then from there, 5-foot sidewalk to the Dollar General. As of right now, as shown in the conceptual, there's a buffer width from the curb line to the sidewalk. It's pretty convenient for placing proposed signage and actually the existing utility poles just conveniently are located in that area right now. Going to the west side of North Main Street, we are proposing to remove the existing curbing along this area and push everything closer to the roadway. And in conjunction with that, we'd be filling this area in and then putting in parking in this
Is that
area.
parallel parking too?
I believe it's an angle. I'll get to that in the next 4 sheets. Another thing I wanted to point out was these bulb outs and with a mid-block crossing. They're kind of, well, I'd call them floating islands. You can see how they're, complete the shape. The reason we did that was because water, if you connected it into the curbing here and here, water would get trapped, so you chose to just let water pass through. Otherwise, you'd be increasing construction costs with trenching, putting in piping and structures. Okay, lighting and landscaping sheet. These dark circles right here represent the lighting, proposed lights. They're approximately equal spaced along the downtown stretch. They are not in the exact same spots as the existing trees. And for reference, we're pointing out where existing trees are to be removed along here. As shown in the conceptual plans, this is our landscaping
Are those
plan.
trees coming out?
The existing trees are coming out.
Okay.
And in its place, we're proposing to put in some landscaping in the mini green, if you will, and it would be a combination of trees, shrubs, and perennials. Based on the town's guidance, they're low maintenance and will be low-growing trees so that they do not interfere with the business signs. So although the sign itself is rather large, the actuality might be smaller in reference. As I mentioned earlier, each one of these lights has underground conduit running to it. It's running across the road into the existing power meter that the park lighting project is tying into. Now moving on to the signs and lines sheet. We're proposing to restripe the center line through here. We have a crosswalk at Liberty Street and then 2 mid-blocks on either side of the park and ride. There's a turn lane with symbols shown right here. And then for parking, there is angled parking here. Angled parking here, of which we're currently showing 1, 2, and 3 handicap stalls. Since DK has submitted conceptual plans, received feedback, I think the town wanted another handicap stall, so we proposed to put one at the corner of Liberty Street as well.
There's one there now, anyway. Well, the sign was knocked down, I guess.
And then as you can see on the sheet, we're showing elevation views of existing signage and whether or not we're moving and replacing it, or resetting it. Again, there's another stall here as soon as you pass the corner.
That's wrong.
And then moving on to the next sheet. This is the alleyway here. There's going to be a crosswalk right here, and then angled parking, and then as soon as you get past the community bank, we're transitioning to parallel parking for the remainder of it.
So there's angle parking through as it is now, to the bank, in front of the bank?
No, it's parallel.
No, I call it angled. The bank is right there. Well,
Oh, okay.
excuse me, no, community bank is right here. Right at that community bank is when we start parallel.
Okay, good, okay.
On the east side.
Yep.
We're proposing to restripe the center line of the road. You can see the mid-block crosswalk right here. And then on this side, on the west side of North Main Street, again, it's angled parking. There are 2 handicap stalls on either side of the entrance into the park, right in this location. So as of right now, there'd be 6 total proposed handicap stalls.
Are those angle parking in front of Derby store now?
You're gonna have to tell me where Derby store is.
That's the big closing.
It's not in the project area.
It's angled now. Same.
It's not part of the project.
It's not in the project area.
Aren't there angle parking there, Bob?
Well,
Well, no,
it's gonna stay the same.
Same, it's gonna stay the same as it is. It's not
I
as,
think angle's a lot better because that'll stop the U-turns.
but it's not part of this project.
In total, there's 58 proposed parking stalls. I don't know if that's a net loss or net gain as shown.
Made a lot of jokes about that.
I think we counted 29 spots, just on Google Earth downtown, like right in front of the building. And I think the big green space proposed in front of the block brings it down to 24. So there would be a loss of parking spots right there, though further down the block, which won't make a lot of people happy, there is additional spots being marked out.
Most days you can't find a place to park where there's the laundromat. I had that problem. I think through the freaking lot.
Are you losing the ones at Durfee's across the street?
We're not touching this.
Because I want to know what's going on with the free parking area.
That's a different,
It's a different project. But we'll talk about, we'll let you talk about it after we're done.
Part of that anyway.
The park and ride across the street. Yes, the rain garden there, yeah. That's what she's talking about.
I thought that was part of this.
No, it's not. Two different two different projects, there's three projects counting the lighting. That, and the parking is a different project
Okay.
than this.
All right. So, on each of these plan sheets I've shown you, there's an alignment along the center line of the roadway, and there's stationing associated with it.
Yes.
So you see 87 plus 00, and every little tick mark is a 25-foot tick mark. So I'm saying that because when you go to these cross sections in reference, 8750 should match exactly what's shown in the plan view as if you want to be looking back and forth. These are more for the contractor's use than, your use. Next, I wanted to touch on project status and talk a little bit more about the plans. B&K submitted conceptual plans back in February or March. We received comments back both from the town and V-Trans. We've addressed them and incorporated those comments, and we're heading to submit preliminary plans. One of those comments we received was from the town was that you wanted to see a little hub and spoke similar to the town green. We are proposing to put in an aggregate surface course right here with a center island. The center island's big enough to hold some picnic tables and some gatherings. The landscaping has been adjusted so there's no impacts with this proposed configuration. The other thing the town wanted me to look at was drainage. At the conceptual plan level, we had no drainage improvements, but as we further advance and refine the plans, we've come up with a couple areas that there are low-lying points, one of which is right here at the corner of the curbing. Water's flowing in this area, and it's just, we don't think there's a way for it to get around the curb and go to the drainage structure. So we're going to be proposing to put a drainage structure in right here. And then you can't see it, but there's an existing drainage structure that's going to be capped. So it has a grate right now. We'd be raising it and putting in a sewer manhole cover, or just, no, not a sewer manhole cover, just a manhole cover. It's not going to be collecting any water because of the new proposed curb layout. There are also a couple low points we've identified in the grading in the park island, and speaking with the town, we're going to be putting in tree wells. So these two trees are going to be in a low-lying area. Basically, all the stormwater flows to that area. It's going to drain. The tree's going to collect the water, get all the nutrients. In the event there is a high storm event, there will be a relief structure that if the water starts coming up, it'll go into that relief structure and outlet to this structure here. Okay. Next, I want to touch on schedule. Back in March, B&K just submitted NEPA to environmental folks at V-Trans for review. Typically, that's been 6 months or so to review. However, recently, that's been taking longer and longer. So March would start the clock, so to speak, on that. So that would be the critical path coming up. We're going to have to wait until NEPA gets approved by V-Trans, and then from there, we can go into final design, final plans, specs, and estimate. And again, back to the four contract plan submissions submitted. They get reviewed and then go to PS&E or contract level. The schedule I put in the original agreement has construction occurring in 2024. So again, 6 months or so from March would put us into the fall 2023, and then again 2 submissions left to get the PS to bid the project. So it looks like 2024 is when it's going to happen. The only other thing that I wanted to mention was the cost opinion for the conceptual plans. As submitted, we had a conceptual cost opinion for this project of $770,000. And that includes a 20% contingency. The reason why I put in these contingencies is as the project gets advanced and things get added, such as drainage structures, the contingency comes down and we better define what's included and not included in the project.
What was that number again?
770. And with that, I'm done with my presentation. Does anyone have any additional comments or questions or concerns?
Seeing as the last project was vastly overbid, how confident are you on that number for another year, in another year?
I'm starting to
That's not
realize
fair,
the
I know.
bidding environment in Rutland County is a little different than elsewhere. I've spoken with V-Trans on it. There's not that many contractors and contractors outside Rutland County, or especially, Chittenden County or Addison don't want to travel as much. There's plenty of work up in that region to do the work. So that's what we're experiencing now with the Park and Ride and the Park and Ride project. Speaking to a contractor about the Park and Ride and Park Lake project, they just don't want to bid it because it's, not their earthwork. So there's only two potential bidders for this area. So again, to answer your question, I would have to think about it. We'll be revising our cost opinion based on the current working environment. Contractors don't have enough staff to do the work. As such, contractors are taking risk, and because they're taking risk, they're putting that in construction costs or unit pricing for the project.
So just a question, this is the second informational meeting. Is the game plan to, in 6 months, when we have a little more information about what's being approved, and I think there were a couple things we brought up, like the concern about
Oh my gosh.
about the
It's a
coal
real fire.
chutes going in. In about 6 months, there'll be another informational meeting, or is this?
We currently don't have an official public meeting schedule. We've fulfilled the NEPA process with 2 public meetings. We've said, I believe there were public meetings during the scoping studies. And because of that, we fulfilled the process. We have as many meetings as you want. It's just two's the minimum, and that's what we're currently proposing.
So we have had 2 official meetings with Brian, but the board itself, prior to moving forward, we talked about, we had a public meeting about this as well. Because it is a big change to downtown, and we wanted to make sure everybody was on board before we started paying the contractors to come in and eat up their time.
And that was my only concern. I think we have a lot more communication to people.
Yeah, we've been trying.
Okay.
I'm Stephanie Burke, by the way. I'm with the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, and I'm serving as the municipal project manager for the town on this project. So just to distinguish between informational meetings, there's informational meetings where you're paying a consultant to be present and answer questions, and then there are informational meetings that y'all may hold just in-house without participation of the consultant. As far as their contract is concerned, I think this is the only public meeting that you are currently, that is currently included in your scope of work, correct? Yes.
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 Okay.
Okay.
So then, with you helping us shepherd this through, we might have someone like yourself to help answer.
I can't speak to the engineering. I can help kind of facilitate the process in terms of looking at what is being proposed, helping you assemble comments to feed back to the consultant. There are a couple of outstanding items that I have made you aware about, Joe, in terms of that drainage issue. For example, there's one way to solve that, which is a new structure. The alternate way was to create more of a floating island in that area so that, you know, you didn't incur the expense of another structure. It would be similar to the islands at the
Inside.
what is that, east end of the alignment? Where's the north end? North end of the alignment. So if you remember, he mentioned that those bulb outs that are floating, they're not attached to the curb. Another option to address the stormwater down by that new kind of green area is you could put a structure there, or that could be converted into more of a floating island so that the stormwater can pass through and get to that lower catch basin.
Okay.
So there's that. Joe had also asked Brian and his shop to look at maybe improving ADA accessibility into the building fronts. They've done a whole effort on that. And really the punchline was, without basically reconstructing from the center line of the road to, adjust to the grades for ADA compliance, there's really not much you can do. But I think I'd be happy to kind of, with more time at a following meeting, kind of touch on those kinds of topics and help in whatever way I can to facilitate review of these plans. Make sure you understand the comments that have already been provided. If anything from this point isn't going to affect that plan set, it's going to affect the preliminary plan set, which is the second one in the series that Brian had mentioned.
Good.
Okay?
One final thing I want to touch on ADA. The second thing was, I mentioned earlier that there was going to be a green strip in this area. Consulting with the town and Stephanie, we decided to go with putting it in like a brick herringbone pattern of concrete because of the town not wanting to maintain this buffer area. So anytime you see these symbols, that's what it's going to be.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you.
Okay, I was just waiting to be known.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Roseanne Van Loo. I live on South Side. I work at Woods Agency in the corner. I think that the beautification of downtown is an awesome idea. It really, really needs it. I think putting in the lamps and taking out the trees that are there now and putting the lamps is also a good idea, although I think we should probably put a couple more in. It looked like they were kind of spread out, and I think we need more light downtown. As far as the green area in the corner, I haven't talked to one person in town that is willing to give up parking places for a green area that's directly across from the park. We are begging for more parking, and we're losing. How many did you say?
4 or 5 right in front of the buildings.
Right, and that's where people need to park.
Well, we're gaining parking across the road too.
That
The
doesn't,
point,
people.
no, the point is we're trying to connect the two sides of the town together, and the only way to do that is not to make it all a parking lot, is to make it closer to each other. And that's one way I don't,
I'm sorry about
I'm
it.
sorry.
I don't understand what you're saying, but I also
Trying to
physically can't understand
know.
what you're saying.
No. I was going to ask, I'm sorry, you're talking about the parking spaces that would be lost. They'd be in front of the brick buildings downtown?
Yes.
So what's there right now in front of the laundromat and the brewery and the other, retail stores in there?
Right.
Then so how many are there now, do you know?
I did, when I first was looking at this, I think, you said 29, didn't you?
Just quickly down Google, I counted out 29.
Okay,
Could be plus or minus 1.
all right. Cindy Adams and I looked through the plans, and we counted that we were losing 6 parking places.
Right.
And then, now I think right now there's 2 handicap spots.
Downtown, I think there's only one, down by the Soldier.
Okay, so then we would be losing another 3 on top of that because now we're putting in more handicap. Again, our clients, now, I mean, right at the Woods Agency alone, everybody's always looking for parking. They can't find parking. And our people, a lot of our people are old, they don't want to park across the street.
Well, you need to talk to the
I-
people that own businesses there and tell them to park across the street.
Well, I admit I'm guilty of that right now because I injured my ankle, and I let the police department know that I'm parking closer right now because of the injury.
That's not what I'm talking about. You know that there are people.
I know, but
Those are automatically lost to the retail businesses down there.
is there any way we could, behind the buildings, so it would be closer to, for the people who are employed there?
There is parking in the back.
But it's not very safe parking. I'm sorry. It's not. It's not very safe parking. The lighting back there is horrendous. So if you want the people who work there to not park in the front, and I agree with you, but we need to have a place where we can park too, that is closer and that is safe.
I would agree that there is a certain amount of safety that is the town's responsibility, but the owners of the buildings have to take some responsibility for that as well. I would say. And some sort of cooperative venture in the back would be really helpful for everybody. I agree.
It will. I mean, it really would. And I think that's something that really needs to be considered. But I still think people are still begging for parking. And, you know, I think it's wrong to put in this little green thing when we've got to park right across the street. That if they want to put,
Could I just comment about that?
Yeah.
Brian, and I'd ask you to speak to this. Could you move back to the sheet that shows the section of the project that we're speaking of? So the objective was to extend the curb line, right? And this, you're fine, right here. Your objective is to extend the curb line this way, to narrow the travel way, to slow traffic, right? Because you want people to feel safe crossing the street, safe parking, and going to the retail establishments in your downtown core. So this could be all concrete. I don't think that you're losing the spaces because of the green.
the point is we don't
Okay.
want this. We don't want that.
Why?
We want,
Right, but.
because the other thing is you're backing right out onto the road here now. In this instance, you're now backing right out onto the road, which is more dangerous than pulling out into the area that it is now.
But what I hear, I don't wanna argue.
No, it's
with you.
okay.
What I hear from you is that you and others have some concerns that maybe we need a little more lighting, and that you're concerned about losing parking.
Yes,
And that's probably the biggest thing I hear.
that is.
And I don't have, and those are valid concerns. for
Beautify
that,
as
but I'm
much as you want, because I love this town and I want it to look great. The trees that are there now have not been taken care of. All they are, they've been completely infested with wasps, and it's hard to get by there without getting dive bombed.
Well, we have the consultant available. Brian, can you speak at all to what seem to be competing project desires of extending the curb line and retaining parking, I don't know if those are compatible goals, or,
I'm trying to find a way, I'm trying to think about areas to gain parking with this situation, and it's,
right,
having a hard time doing so.
right.
To your point, actually, I was also thinking about the fact that we have a new business opening there on Thursday. The cannabis shop is opening up, and we don't know yet how much traffic that's going to get. So that business is also going to be competing for parking at the same time.
So how much parking is immediately across the street that these new crosswalks connect to and the parking rights?
A lot, and we actually gained parking spots on that side. And I think it's a matter of getting used to, I think it's just a matter of getting used to what we will have. And, go ahead.
Another concern we have is with the two pot stores within 100 feet of each other, we're going to have these picnic tables right in front of our business. I mean, I've already seen a considerable amount of difference in people walking by.
They can't get high in public, so there's not a problem.
That's what you say. I mean, that's what the law is. But, I mean, I'm walking through clouds of the stuff.
Then you need to talk to the cops.
So I'm concerned about people sitting and loitering in front of
I'm not.
our business.
I honestly am not. I think that's exactly what we want. We want people hanging out downtown. And we want them to be able to not consider it a big, huge asphalt jungle, for lack of a better term. We want it to be more inviting. We want it to be a walking space. We don't want it to be a driving space as much as it is. We want people to park across the road. We want them to use the parking that we have. I think it's worth the sacrifice to get to that point and to have a more, the whole idea of slowing down traffic, calming the traffic down there, and not having as much traffic in front of those businesses. I think you'll find it'll be good.
Are we also getting rid of the left-hand turn lane for Liberty Street?
No, I don't think so.
It's currently shown right here.
Okay,
We're restricting it, putting in symbols, left arrow, only text.
okay, I see it now.
And then the through lane.
Okay. I was just wondering about that, because as Joe knows, that's been a bone of contention, because it's dangerous without the markings there. Okay, well, I guess I've
You
made my points.
Yeah, it's reasonable. Everybody's always worried about parking. That's very true.
But it's a big change,
Yeah, it is.
and people have difficulty getting used to change.
I agree, we need change. I just don't think we need to sacrifice our parking to do it.
Well,
I don't think we're
I
sacrificing that
I
much.
think that's a small.
Joe?
We have a question online. The question is there a link on the town website for the plans? I will look, and if there's not, I will put those plans there.
I did not find it.
Okay, if it's not there, I'll put one there. And the second question is, we mentioned NEPA. Will the NEPA documents be made available for public comment? Made available to the public at all for comment?
I don't see a reason why not.
That's the NEPA is a federal process, and I think everything is open to comment for the environmental review.
All it is a Word document that you fill out with questions and answers, and then after that is a bunch of supplementary documents that you need to submit with the document,
So I think they could be, I would be careful about phrasing them as being available for comment.
Right,
There's
and
really
just
no
to
public
be-
comment period on that documentation, is my understanding. I mean, it's already been submitted to V-Trans, and V-Trans takes care of facilitating that review and approval process with Federal Highway.
It is the
Federal
feds.
organization. It's, so it's not something that goes out for a quote-unquote public comment period for the local population. absolutely can be made available for review. Right? Because ultimately what you're trying to obtain for this project is something called a categorical exclusion. And all the supporting documents that Brian referenced basically demonstrate that there will be no adverse impacts from this project on historic, cultural, archaeological, or environmental resources. So it's categorically excluded from any further federal permitting.
I forgot, and I apologize. One of the other things that has been mentioned, I understand that the store owners are supposed to be responsible for right in front of their establishments. But over the course of this past winter, where the crosswalk comes onto the sidewalk at the corner, when plows go by, it leaves a whole bunch of crud there. Slush, snow, which then freezes. That needs to be taken care of. I mean, that's something that no matter what we do, the town needs to do better at that. I tore my Achilles tendon last summer. And being a good girl, once it was healed, being a good girl, I was parking across the street. And when I was trying to come over all the crud on the right at the edge of the crosswalk there, is when I re-injured my ankle. Because it had frozen. And now I mean, there was like almost a foot of snow and slush frozen there. That's how I re-injured it. So that is something that really will need to be addressed. I don't know whether it's the state that plows through there or whether it's the town. But one way or the other, that needs to be better addressed in the next winter.
Like that. If there are no other additional comments, we're getting past the half hour we allowed for.
Sorry.
No, that's just fine. I mean, we want public input, we really do. And if there are no other additional, we'll call this part of the meeting over and we'll start our regular meeting. Which you're welcome to say too.
I just got,
I was planning on it.
I just got one comment.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Just a quick one. On the lighting, you mentioned lighting. A lot of the newer lighting, the LED lighting, is a lot brighter. And it's usually,
Hold on a second, honey.
the LED lighting is a lot brighter usually. It's they engineer these and design them for good sight, good lighting illumination. So I don't think that's a concern.
Yeah, I understand your point, but I don't think an extra couple of posts is going to.
As we get further along in the plans, is there going to be a lighting plan that would show an illumination radius?
We can do that, yes.
Did that help to give you a visualization of how much light coverage there would be at the proposed number of posts? Is that part of the regular plan set?
I think it's all nice, handle, I'm not the electrical
Right,
person.
me either, I know a little bit, be dangerous.
We just moved it down like 6 lights, so we spaced them out proportionally.
It just seems like right in through, between the wooden soldier and the corner. It just, I mean, there's only 4 lampposts there. And that seems scarce to me.
Across the bottom.
Just so you're aware, if we're gonna be adding light posts, you might have seen this in the bids, they're coming in about $10,000 a light post. Give or take these ornamental lights, so.
So in terms of next steps, Joe, do you have any preferences? Are we gonna just hunker down and kind of wait for the NEPA process, or?
Yeah, let's wait for the NEPA, because the state and the town, so the state and the town have already commented on these designs, so we're gonna wait for NEPA to come back, and then I guess we can meet again after that as a board.
I guess I need to, hold off on submitting preliminary plans.
No, let's, moving forward, you can do NEPA and the plans all at the same time?
I think we need to get approval from V-Trans to proceed with preliminary, because typically you need to have your categorical exclusion in place in order for them to authorize approval to proceed to that next planning stage. But our V-Trans project supervisor is well aware of the project and the town's desire to coordinate and harmonize this project with an upcoming state paving project. So I think that there is an opportunity for us to proceed with preliminary work while the categorical exclusion is pending. So let me circle back with Christine on that and make sure that we don't get ahead of ourselves in terms of V-Trans approvals.
The one thing I don't think you can do before you get NEPA approval is absolutely cannot go to final plan stage, which is draft contract document stage. So the NEPA will be the critical path, just waiting for that.
So I'll look to you to guide if there's any additional comments from the town on, that should be considered by you and King for the preliminaries.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for coming in.
everyone. Thanks for coming in.
You can lead them right up against that big door and I'll grab them on my way out. Thank you, Brian.
Those coal chutes.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be that evident, but and it may be, town lore that everybody who's my age or older remember.
So they can just
Underneath what's the concrete that's there, and I had one fella that was always freaked out when we would run a loader across that, so you're gonna lose a loader in there someday because he remembers the coal chutes.
What's the size of them?
I have no idea. I really don't know. So I'm a big help. I'm just giving you something else to fear. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, we're back into our regular meeting now. Amendments to the agenda?
I have one amendment. Can we add deposits into the highway equipment reserve fund onto the agenda?
New business?
Yes, please.
To the highway reserve.
Highway equipment reserve.
Is there a motion for that?
Motion to add that to the agenda under new business?
Second?
Jason?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I can't see. Seconded by,
What, Rich seconded, Jason?
okay. Sorry, I can't see them.
Are the mics on, by the way, or are we mic'd up here, or?
Just for the TV.
Okay, got it.
Any other amendments before we move? Okay, approval of minutes of April 4th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 4th, as written.
Second, please. Anybody?
Second.
Thank you. That was Chad. Any additions, deletions, corrections?
I had a couple on page 2. Under the town manager report and communication, the last bullet said congratulations to Carrie LaFawn on a recent promotion. I think what we meant was congratulations to Eli Carlton on his wastewater certification.
Gary hasn't got a promotion.
Carrie didn't get a promotion. But we were doing a lot of talking, so it might have got a.
Yeah.
I could, I'll look back on my notes, but somebody said Carrie LaFawn.
Well, they were trying to tell me who I was talking to at that particular
Okay,
point.
who was it?
That was Eli Carlton. It was the one where it's really.
Eli Carlton or Eli Charlton?
Charlton?
Charlton.
Charlton. And he's the one who, it was something special because having someone who's still in high school get wastewater certification before graduation. is
Certification.
One of the first in the state, which is a pretty big deal, a great thing.
He's a good kid.
Yep.
I was gonna ask Joe, do we have any like certificates or anything we could give to him, or, just a little,
We don't, but as the program ramps up, we really should get something because it's special what these guys are up to.
Yeah, I agree.
These people are up to, yeah.
Especially kids that age, yeah.
And on that same page 2, under old business revolving loan policy, it says, new business 5 years, housing is, it said 2 years in the minutes, but it's 3 years
yeah.
for the housing.
I missed that.
Okay.
And then on page 5, we did a lot of appointments,
Yes, you did.
and,
Wait a minute.
okay. I'm looking at the Energy Committee appointment, and we need to add Jason Copel's name under the Energy Committee.
Ah.
And
Wait a minute now. What did you do?
added Jason Copel as on the Energy Committee.
He's on that committee?
Yes, and we had talked, both him and Chad, and I think we just got it confused, where on the Economic Development Committee, instead of Jason being down there, it should be Chad VJ. instead of
That
Jason.
is actually correct.
Which one is that?
That's the Economic Development Committee.
Right.
Let's see, Economic Development, we take
Okay.
Jason, cross out Jason's name and
And put in,
Chad's name. Yeah.
okay, got it.
And then I'm good.
That's not bad out of 6 pages.
6 pages a minute, so.
Everybody okay? The people made the motion with the changes?
I'll move to accept the minutes with the amendments so indicated.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We are moving on. 5 minutes for public comment. Ms. Van Loo, you had something to say about the park and ride, I think, at one.
Yeah. When are we gonna be discussing that? When are we gonna have an informational meeting on that?
How many have we had so far?
I'm sorry, I've
3 or
been out
4.
of the loop for a while. Joe happened to catch me one day with the plans for this, and I was like, whoa, I mean, I didn't know anything about it.
Well, it's been in the paper and it's been,
I don't read the Rutland Herald.
well, that's part of the problem.
I don't know very many people who still do.
But the status update is, we've done the communication meetings, we've done, revision designs at least 3 times with input from different business owners and things, and we finally got to the point where we were ready to go, had the funding, that's packaged together and went out to bids, and about a month ago, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, the bids came back and they were way over what we anticipated, so we decided to say no to that and to rebid it. And I think we've sent it back out, and we should be getting close to
Friday. Is it Friday?
Friday at 3 o'clock.
we should be getting close to the new bids. If they come in the right ballpark, the game plan was to have the lighting done before the end of June and the park and ride done this year, because we're paving, West Park Place is getting paved, and we want all that to come in together. But that, I don't know if I missed something, guys,
Are
but
we losing, I mean, again, when we were going over it, if I remember correctly, we were gonna lose a couple places there, but maybe I missed.
We
No.
gained
we
one or
actually
two.
gained. Gain more over
we
there?
gained.
It's not much, it's like 1 or 2, right?
I was gonna say 3. It wasn't a ton,
It
but
wasn't a ton, but I mean, it's a trade-off.
But there's gonna be a lot better lighting over there, because that was, again, working over there at 5 o'clock at night, it's really freaking dark.
Yeah.
And I understand that it's very difficult to plow over there because people leave their cars overnight and stuff. And then it freezes, the slush freezes, and, you know, it's bad. I mean.
We're trying to
the
make
plowing
that,
needs to
yeah,
somehow be improved.
well, the way it'll be set up, I think it won't be easier to plow, but plowing will be, I think, better, because right now, it's not very defined where the cars go. And where they can park and where they, obviously, we've got to do a better job of figuring out where to put permanent people that live there all the time and how they move their cars and get it, you know, that's something we're gonna have to come up with, some sort of a, you know, east-west or north-south parking or some sort of thing, so we can switch the parking over the day so we can clear it out. But, I mean,
How is the lighting gonna be improved?
I was just wanting to say, my understanding of the project is it only includes how the traffic flow, parking spaces. We're doing lighting in the park, but the
Yes, we're doing
existing lighting, are we changing any of the
yeah,
existing?
we're adding lights there.
I didn't think, there's everything I looked in the project showed no change in lighting on the park and ride.
There was a whole talk about, time out. There was a whole talk about we were gonna do the what do you call those, fish eye lights or snake eye lights or whatever the heck the lights. And nobody liked that. We were gonna go to have the same.
When we had the meetings, and I
How did I miss that?
don't know if it was, but we had the meetings and we looked at two things. It was a combination of cost, and also I thought that they were saying that we weren't gonna get better lighting, but that the lighting was gonna be adequate.
It's not gonna be any worse. There's currently a spotlight out there that will keep illuminating the spots, but no, we're not adding the antique lighting like what's in the park.
So I understand.
Can you just add some kind of lighting?
It's all cost. I mean, I
It's
get that.
all about how much money you want to spend. But I think what we ended up with is we're saying we're going to put it in, we're going to go with the existing lighting. They're probably on the parking closest to the park because there's lighting there along the way, but I don't see the loom thing that they showed for what the coverage doesn't say it's going to come out. I don't envision lighting getting better. That would have to be something else we do at a later date, but changing the lighting isn't in the project. So I don't want you to go away thinking it is.
Thank you, because I did. Is there going to be more lighting like along the outside of the park towards the road? When they put
The lighting in the park is strictly along the pedestrian paths, along the hub and spoke path. There's no lighting outside the park for those projects. The lighting downtown, that's downtown.
But I didn't, and I just may have missed it. Is there going to be any light on, that reaches the parking places that are going to be alongside the park?
Which park? The green park?
Big park, yeah.
The green? No.
Because that's normally,
we're not
that's
adding
normally
lights
where I park during the day, when I'm physically capable. Because that's another place, I mean, the thing is, you're taking away the parking in front of the buildings. Not taking away, you're diminishing the parking in front of the buildings, which we're not supposed to be parking there anyway. But since we're supposed to be parking across the street, but you're not helping us to do that, you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but there never has been lighting along that part of the park. And
I'm saying that if we're in the middle of doing all these improvements, these are things that need to be considered. If we're not supposed to park in front of our businesses, then we should have a safe place to park elsewhere. And it's not being provided.
well, it's a matter of opinion if it's safe or not, but
Well, the lighting is not getting worse, so
No,
the lighting that's there now will be,
I think
well,
it's bad in the first place.
Well, that's a,
and I would agree that it would be nice to have that lighting, and it was discussed, but it was, you know, the town can only afford so much. So, and at $10,000 a post, how many posts are we willing to put in?
Not to say that once we get the park lighting in and the park and ride done, that we don't come back and if that's seen as something the taxpayers value and it's needed to be done, we'd be more than willing to go and look at another, you know, follow-on projects. We're just one step at a time, that's all.
Just the comments that I've been hearing is people would be much more appreciative of putting more lighting in the parking that we have rather than having a green space when we have a park 100 feet away. Those are the comments. I mean,
Yep.
it's my opinion too, but these are the comments that I'm also hearing.
thank you, thank you. Anybody else, public comment? Okay. Department head report. Sir,
I left you a report, we had on the ref, I think we had final nothing major, I was on for a week, I came back with no problem, so it was kind of nice. It was just normal day-to-day operations for the last 2 weeks, and everything to provide. I don't know if you guys have any questions or concerns.
Thank you.
No,
Wish I had more to give you this week.
No. Being quiet's not a bad thing, it's good.
The fire is pretty bad down there in Prospect, I just left there.
That's what they just,
Yeah,
What's-
looks like it'll be total loss. 23 Prospect Street. Fire Department, Southampton, Whitehall. Hopefully, I saw Granville, there's a bunch of them.
Is that multiple apartment homes?
No, it's the one right at Grove Street intersection, the next house.
oh, no kidding.
Oh, no kidding.
everyone
It's gonna
get,
be total loss.
On the corner?
Rick Moss.
Right across, yes, it's Rick Moss's house. Renfro's living there right now, he's the son of money.
everyone got out of the house okay.
Yeah, everybody's out. It's now in the attic. The ladder's up. Looks like it's gonna be total loss. It says Dark Ice Tanker just left it.
The one on the corner?
Renfro's house. Right across from Jody's.
Yeah,
This is
All
not,
across the street, not the one on the corner of Cedar.
no,
Okay.
this has not been a good couple of weeks.
no, it
tell
has
you.
Oh,
not.
they have work to that.
He's done a lot of work to it.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see anybody else. Everybody's down.
When was the other fire out on Scotch Hill? When was that? That was like 2 weeks ago?
Maybe,
And we didn't get the autopsies back on that. I think you probably saw why it's going. There was nothing suspicious. I know there was a lot of rumors. There was a murder suicide. There was not. Everything, all the rumors that came up, we investigated that and flushed them out. It does appear to be accidental at this point. It was the wood stove malfunction, and they died of smoke inhalation. I did forget about that. Thank you.
any questions for the chief?
Oh, we're good.
Bill, do you guys keep an eye? I've been walking through some clouds of stuff that shouldn't be getting smoked along the sidewalk. And, you know, between Wooden Soldier and just FYI, it's not cool.
I'm trying to put an extra, I don't know if I'll have manpower, but we are trying to put an extra patrol out from the afternoon, evening hours on 420. And it's not targeted because they're opening that day, but that's become the unofficial holiday with marijuana, so we're looking to put an extra patrol out if I can have the type staffing, just to try to reduce the impairment.
Joe, are those retailers required to like prevent that as part of their licensure? I think they are. I think if they know that there people are smoking outside the business, that they're obligated to do something about it.
Jason, I would have to look that
sure
up,
they
but
do.
Yeah.
if somebody walks away though, we can't.
Well,
It would be hard for me
They,
to believe.
they're very aware of that, because at the planning commission, I suggested that I might try that myself.
And that's being regulated by the cannabis board. So if
Yeah.
you have any complaints, it's It's not under liquor control yet. I think that's where it'll end up at some point. But in Vermont, it's open container. If it's treated like alcohol here.
Right,
So if we get
Yeah,
somebody smoking
right.
on the street, they'll get an open container ticket.
yeah. Got it.
The worst possible day to have a meeting at the fire.
Yeah. Oh, they're having water
Well,
supply
the-
issues too, so.
Best,
Yeah, they're up, aren't they? Yeah. Those are cans of water. Those must have been from Polteny last time.
Yeah, guys, do you want some help moving some stuff out there?
Lots of them up here.
Yeah, usually they steal the ladder, but that's all right.
I can't reach those. Me neither.
is there a ladder around someplace?
Do you need more?
We can grab a couple more. I was gonna grab a couple bottles.
There's a ladder. We'll adjourn for a second. That's all right. You guys are doing much more important work.
I thought these were cans of beer sitting here. I almost picked them up because I thought, what are they doing with all this beer? I'm sorry.
No, they probably get it donated in different places. Who knows?
I'll try to make contact with those businesses just to remind them of the.
Well, like I said, I threatened to do that, and the guy that opened the first store, said, you can't do that. So he was freaked out, so he knows what his right?
For those of you that I haven't seen yet, my name is Mike Leduc, I'm the chief operator at the water plant. Saw Rich this morning, told him I'd come in. We've been pretty busy. Just so you know, the the returning board members know, we put in our last water meter yesterday morning.
Great.
887 meters are in, and the only ones that are left are the vacant properties, and as they get occupied, the water won't be turned on until they do have a new meter. I have some pictures in a photo album. We also have removed all of the old chemical tanks. The new ones are installed. We have gotten our first caustic soda delivery of 1,000 gallons, which the price has gone through the roof. I mean, we're looking at $15,000 a year right now.
Wow.
From roughly about 3,000 when I first started. We have also started the electrical issues and trying to get them straightened out. We've been consulting with the company out of New York, RASP Associates. We have bought them some new signal wires, some conduit. Jeff and I are going to be starting that. Oh, I forgot to mention that about the chemical tanks. We did that all in-house. So there was no plumbers, no construction people. That was all done by us. Let's see, what else are we doing? Working on trying to get a new roof. And Joe stopped up the other day and finally saw firsthand, because we both went up on the roof. I mean, there's gaps where the wood framing is showing. So, you know, I mean, there's no doubt that there's quite a few leaks up there.
How old is that then? Is that original roof?
No, well, I'd say no. The stories I've been told, it was kind of like repaired, replaced back in the early 2000s or late 90s.
How much did you say the tanks, it went from 3 to what?
The chemicals went from about 3,000 to, we're looking at probably 15,000 right now a year.
Per year, okay.
Yeah, we get 1,000 gallons of delivery now. They're double-walled tanks, so that took away our needing to have a chemical containment area. Thank you. Mine went blank there for a second. So with the double walls, they don't have to have a containment. That's the reason for the double wall. We do have a new intern, Nate Jones. He is still in high school also. He's 17. Unfortunately, he's going to, I shouldn't say unfortunately, he's going to be going to college. He got accepted at Norwich. So in my case, unfortunately, he's not going to be here that long, but good for him. He gets a taste of what the field is like, and so far he says he likes it, and good luck to him in the future. What's I'm missing?
No, when's Nate going to college? What's his plan, do you know?
This coming fall.
Oh, he's rolling out like right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he said he was going, being a freshman and being in the ROTC program, I think he said he has to go either the end of August or beginning of September.
And what college?
Norwich.
Couldn't talk him into a gap year, huh?
It's another opportunity for another student, maybe.
We also have, I have just recently given a tour to the hydrology class from Castleton, and we had a young lady express interest in, even though she's going to graduate, come over and the time that she has remaining, see how things work. Her name is, we call her Max, that's what she goes by.
I don't know her name.
I'll have to look it up again. But, anyway, she comes twice a week just to see the water plant aspect of it from her main goal of finding the water. So that's been I don't know, I think a pretty important program. The word gets out that we're looking for interns and tours. Not that they're ready to make a decision yet, but we've also had a tour of kindergarten, first and second grade from up in Vincent. They were doing like a world, I don't want to say world up helping thing, but that had to do with clean water and not littering, that type of thing. So they came down, took a tour. They were happy to see the water, and they also did the wastewater. And I was happy, or I am happy to say that our plant smells better.
That's really good news.
Yes, yes, thank God for that.
You got a word on the book here, honey, I don't know what it's leading to, but
That's all right.
it was wrapped around Bob's foot.
That's okay.
They didn't electrocute me yet. Small loss.
Thank you.
So, I mean, I'm pretty excited because I was here when we started the meters. The pandemic closed us right down for over a year and really slowed us up for a couple, so that's finally done. All the meters are reading well, we've had no issues. Once we have proven that they were accurate, we have actually saved people a lot of money because now with the alarms, or alerts, we can let them know that they have a leak. And we read them unofficially once a week. The official readings are still every 3 months.
All we gotta do is get them to believe you.
Well, we did send them out and had them come back from the independent lab saying that they were right on.
No, we've come a long way.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Good.
Thanks, Mike. Any questions for Mike?
Yes, question. As the warmer weather approaches, if folks are unfamiliar, what's the process if they were to fill up a pool? Should they call ahead, or is there something that,
They do in past practice, if they call either Eileen at the town office or myself, we will go out and take a reading of what their water is at that moment. After they get done filling the pool, call us back and we'll take another reading. They still have to pay for the water. What they don't pay for is the sewage cost on that water that was used, because it's not going down the drain.
In the past, we were told to take the meter readings and bring them. We had to wait until afterwards and then bring them to the board to have them abate them. So has that changed?
Yeah, no, there's no abatement.
There's
You
no
just-
abatement.
you
The
don't
way I
have-
read the ordinance, it's just like Mike.
No, that would have been if you missed something, or we missed something, or, we'd much rather have it done by Mike. Those guys will read it and unread it.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
I mean,
Nope.
I've been having my husband take the numbers down.
Call Mike.
We did 5 seconds, we just parked in front of the house.
Right.
That's
Push a
fine, I
button
just,
and
my
done.
ignorance, sorry.
No, well, I think what you might have been describing is, over the years, there might have been some things that changed, but when we went through that water policy, and
Yeah.
what you described is exactly what we're doing now. Yeah.
Town manager.
Okay, very quickly, we finished our reporting up for this, for our grants, this year, for the 6 months. ARPA reporting is complete for this year. A little bit about DPW, I talked to Nate today, he's gonna hit those storm drains on Carnarvon, so if you're looking at those to be fixed, he's shooting for Friday or Monday. So those are coming up to be done. Class 2 paving grant is in. That's the grant for Scotch Hill Road. And tomorrow morning, the guys will be out working with Joe Donaldson to get his water line tapped. So you'll see them out there bright and early.
Okay. Joe Dobson,
Donaldson on South Main Street.
Newhouse. Okay.
And I do have a little bit for executive session, but that's all I got for now.
Questions for TM? Okay. Liquor and tobacco licenses. Do you have those still? I do. You should all have that.
Wait a minute, wait, I gotta find it. There you go.
Okay, we're gonna do a couple tobacco first. It's all for the same place, so I'll make a motion to approve a tobacco license for Global Montello Group, DBA Jiffy Mart.
Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve a tobacco substitute endorsement for Global Montello Group, DBA Jiffy Mart.
second?
All those in favor?
Who was that second?
Aye.
Jason? Aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion to approve a second-class liquor license for Global Montello Group, DBA Jiffy Mart.
And that's the retail license?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That be it. Okay. New business, the first one is the coin drop approvals for those of you who haven't been involved with this. We allow for 4 coin drops a year, which is up from when it started at 3, and anyways, we let any charitable organization get involved, and we allow for 4. If I'm not mistaken, we have 5 this year.
5 this year.
So, You wanna draw some names?
Yep, so what I did was I numbered each of each of the people that requested. I put their number on their sheet. And I was gonna look for a volunteer to draw one name. This is
Gotta guess.
Oh, sure, make me the,
All you gotta do is pick the one that isn't gonna get it.
oh, man.
That is,
We're gonna blame it on you, George.
So number 5 is the Knights of Columbus, so they will not be
Oh,
received.
no.
Could be excommunicated.
Oh, my God.
So,
And
fair,
it's on record, too.
it is.
Dennis is gonna kill me.
Okay,
and so they, just for the record, so that we know, the 4 that will be doing the coin drop are?
it is Fairhaven Concerned, the, what's the one in Castleton? Community Center. I have a college prep cheer group that wanted to raise money to go on a trip, and Fairhaven Dog Committee. Fairhaven Dog Park Committee.
Help me understand the college prep one.
Yep. College prep cheer, this is for the high school.
Oh, okay. That,
Yeah, no, it's not Castleton.
I was just wanted to make sure we were living to our coin drop policy.
No, yeah.
So let me be clear, the number that was drawn is excluded.
Excluded. And that was the Knights of Columbus.
Yes.
So do you need a motion? Oh, we good.
I think I'm okay.
Cool.
Okay, you have Fairhaven Concern, the college prep, Fairhaven, and who else?
Castleton Community.
Just, and for our new members here, that policy was just recently rewritten. It basically says there'll be 4 at a location. It's usually the location is up by Shaw's. Those organizations stop, get vests, there's cones that are put out, all, so that, for safety of everyone there.
This is going to sound ridiculously stupid, but what exactly is a coin drop?
It's the, for some organizations, it's their major fundraiser, right?
But physically, what is it?
People stand in the middle of the road, stop traffic, beg money from the local taxpayers.
Like the poppies you pick.
It's an awful way to make money.
They accept, I wouldn't say, but they accept donations for their very good causes. And usually there's,
By begging for money.
well, and they,
solicit donations.
right.
They don't beg. They just stand there, and if you don't give them any money, they look at you like,
Granville's after prom on Saturday, one day they got $3,500.
Yeah. Oh,
they make a lot of money.
They're-
There's no doubt about it, and but it's another imposition on the taxpayers.
You're gonna have to.
Personal opinion. Okay, we good with that? Before I rant and rave and get myself in more trouble? Local emergency management plan discussion and update.
Would it be okay with the board if we tabled this until the fire chief can come and, well, I think there's questions about the plan.
Yeah, plus I'd like to get a chance to look it over. Okay, sidewalk discussion.
Yes. So I think it was at the last meeting or the meeting before, the board wanted to talk about sidewalks, and maybe start developing a plan for sidewalk repair and replacement. I did print out, copies of the survey we have and left it on the table. Some people got maps and some didn't because my printer ran out of ink. So, and it's just not, it's not beneficial to look at if it's not in color, so. Some of you have that. What we have is a survey. This is not a plan. Somebody just went through and looked at all the streets that had sidewalks and said, yeah, they're there, or no, they're not there. What we need to do now is to actually develop that plan. For me, if the board had some guidance on how, or what your priorities are for sidewalks, would be a good starting point.
Right, and my question would be, if you're going to, if the goal is to prioritize what sidewalks we want to do, what's the criteria for making the priority? I mean, is it, we have, safety, it could be any number of things, but I think there's probably should be some kind of criteria for what gets you to the top of the list.
I would imagine that when DPW does sidewalk plowing, if I'm remembering correctly, they prioritize walk-in paths to the schools first. Probably look there first and then kind of branch out after that.
I would just say safety and traffic.
And just so the ghost of Dick Frazier doesn't haunt me, I will say, consider the south side, even though it's not a walking area to the school, but, though there are sidewalks, Prospect Street comes to mind as one that is in pretty rough shape. But that's anecdotal, it's not a priority. Maybe what we should do is figure a way to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something each sidewalk, and
Yeah, I mean, the only reason, go ahead.
Can I offer just a suggestion? I have recently been able to start walking again. And I noticed there are several places where there are breaks in the sidewalk where a sewer line or a water line was repaired that didn't get. And that, you can trip on that. Just finish up what's started.
And I know money is always a concern, and for me, someone who lives down on West Street, which has been significantly developed in the last 15, 20 years, with houses all the way down now to this away, that away. At some point, we need to start looking at maybe extending sidewalks, because in the morning, you've got kids walking in the road until they get to Grape Street, or not Grape Street anymore, Phelps Avenue, where the sidewalk starts. And that's very dangerous because, as the chief knows, that seems to be a drag strip to hurry up and get to school in the morning.
Was this part of the stuff, the amendment, or not amendments, but the articles that we voted on in March? Wasn't there a spot that we voted that there's money allotted specifically for doing the sidewalks? I thought I saw something about that.
There was a paving appropriation.
Maybe that's what I was thinking
That
about.
was in there.
But this is not part of that?
No.
No.
Okay.
No. And this has to be a long-term, because these sidewalks are very expensive. So we can't do 10 streets in a year. We neither time nor
I remember when we were
expense.
doing 4th Street, it was horrendously expensive.
Yes.
And that was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But I mean, is the thought, the reason for the discussion on our agenda, is that so that we can say, okay, we've been talking about sidewalks for quite a while. Is it time to put, just like we have a paving plan, where we know we're gonna pave things and we're gonna do this, right? Is it time to put a plan together? And that plan says, here are your sidewalks, get agreement, because I think there might be some, in the old book, there's probably some that aren't there where the places have grown up. And it's easier to edit than create. It's really to put something together and then bring it back. And I thought I heard other discussions that says that we should think about, is there a certain amount of money each year that we say we're gonna do this much towards sidewalks every year, and we'll figure out what that is. I thought I heard.
I said that to the
Yeah.
last meeting.
And I thought it was a good idea.
What about, couldn't we do like a reserve fund? We have a reserve fund for other things. Can't we do a reserve fund for the sidewalks as well?
We have one,
We have one, yeah.
yeah.
I think we've used most of it for our project here, though.
There's a little bit left.
A little bit, okay.
Okay, so I will take the inventory and develop
Thank
a schedule for replacement. And then bring it back to the board for review.
And I think it makes really good sense to kind of use the school as the hub and work out from there. And I mean, there are some good sidewalks already there, so maybe we can sneak out a little farther, but that's a judgment call for you and the DPW, and if we, come and prove it, have it in front of us, and we see something that we think needs to be commented on, I think we will. That has been the case in the past.
And when it comes to slate sidewalks, what do we do with the slate?
Save it.
I mean, do we pull it out or do we leave it?
You can't, state sidewalks are very unsafe, they can't plow them good. The plow goes over them, they tip up, then the plow hooks them, and then you got tripping hazards.
And then you waste, and then you lose the very history of the town of Perryville.
I understand that, but you can't plow state sidewalks.
Look at Pelk Avenue. That's been there 15 or 20 years.
Do they
Let's-
plow it?
Yes?
Let's see what we have. I thought we had a ordinance or a policy that said if we repair or replace a sidewalk, it will be cement.
It
I'm
does
pretty
say
sure, we have one that says that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going, unless we're gonna rewrite the policy,
I mean,
I'm not saying go dig up slate sidewalks right now either.
there may be areas where it's a great basin and they don't do this as they go over them.
They built it.
They may very well hold up for a while.
Pelkey Avenue.
Some places aren't holding up at all.
No. Oh, no, and they haven't been, nobody maintains them, that's the reason. But one of the trade-offs we talked about was putting slate in some of the more prominent places, like in front of the Veterans Park, that little stretch there. It's not a very long stretch. It can be easily maintained. It would look good, and it would at least be a nod to our history.
I agree.
I was in Manchester a few weeks ago, and they had marble sidewalk. Marble?
Yeah, sure.
And,
Marble, yeah.
and in places, they just sank the old sidewalk into some concrete. So that way they maintained the history of it, but it was still smooth.
Stabilizes it better than slate.
It does. So you keep the slate, if you to do that, you keep the slate, but then you have a concrete base.
That's what they had in downtown Perryville when I was a
Can we do
kid.
that again? When we do all this renovation, can we use some of the,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to, but I wouldn't throw it away. The last time we dug up a substantial amount of slate, the DPW guy gave it away.
Oh, I thought we sold, we made some
Tried
money.
to, and nobody bought any.
Nobody bought
I still
any.
have it stacked down at the.
Well, the first time it ended up way all the way.
Yeah.
That was
It got,
ugly that time.
it got given away. It got given away, and it was not, I wasn't thrilled.
So it sounds like you're gonna talk with DPW, come up with something else, and we'll,
Yeah.
We'll pull together a plan like we have for paving, and we'll present it to the board for review and approval.
good.
And try not to put them over the post shut-offs.
Okay.
5 Second Street, we have to lift up one of those slate slabs to shut the water off or turn it on. After the fire, we had quite a time digging around it because it actually was in the ground pretty good to be able to get to the shut-off.
Okay, so we're gonna hear more of that in future meetings. Assistant Health Officer, I saw the note you had.
Yeah, the current health officer, Sarah Trombley, her son Jeremy, who's on our fire department, I think he might be a full-fledged firefighter now. he put his name forward to be the assistant. So I've asked around, and he seems to be well-liked. My only hesitation is, does he have the experience to be an assistant health officer? And I don't have an answer to that.
How, is he 18 or above? I would just wonder what the requirements from the state would be.
I called the state, the woman I talked to said she didn't think there was a requirement. She passed me off to somebody else, and I never received a word back. So I can wait for that to see.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't wanna put somebody on that couldn't serve.
Well, without a definitive, yeah, I didn't get a definitive yes or no from the state.
Right, and if it is okay, I'd like to think there's gotta be some kind, if that even means taking some kind of training, whether
There is
that's.
training.
No, for that you take the training, because nobody really starts off as a, I hate to tell a volunteer, go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually I take all the volunteers I can get, but, so it
So-
sounds like you're gonna do a little more research and come back with a
Yep.
Yeah,
recommendation?
I'll reach back out to the state and see if they didn't,
I mean, like you said, volunteer is a volunteer, and never,
His name is Jeremy. I don't even know who the
what,
Jeremy, C-O-A-N.
C-O-A-N. Jeremy, C-O-A-N.
okay. Road and bridge standards, we have to sign that?
Yes, this is for the board to sign. This is the town of Fairhaven saying that, yes, we will comply with the state road and bridge standards. The town did adopt these standards back in 2013.
It'd be nice if they'd comply with them.
Is that the board that
Um,
signs or just-
I was asked to take a look, to get a report about our bridges in town. I did find a report for Adams Street. I could not find a report for the big bridge downtown. I have a call into the state to see if they can't just send that over to me.
It's a state highway bridge, too.
Yeah, but so you're aware, I asked Joe to check on that because I had a couple people express some concerns that the bridge next to the physical fitness place there, that if you look underneath it, it looked like it might be starting to get where it may need some care. So he said, let's do that separate from this. So you're looking for a motion?
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we sign the town road and bridge standards inventory.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Means we agree to comply with standards. All those in favor?
Aye.
Sorry. Suppose I should say anybody opposed? Okay. Annual financial plan.
So this is the annual financial plan we submit to the state. It's just telling them how much money the town has budgeted to maintain their roads and bridges. And that requires a board signature and a motion as well.
I'll make a motion that we sign off on the annual financial plan for town highways.
Second.
You wanna put the number in there, just for,
For $698,698. It's a- Well, that's when I saw the same number twice. Wishing that it came out that way.
Who seconded?
who seconded that? Jason? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I put the date on it.
Okay. Okay, now this is the highway equipment reserve.
Yep. So the DPW, they were taking some scrap back to the scrapyard this week. They took 2 loads for a total of $1,280. We would like to deposit that into the Highway Equipment Reserve Fund.
2,180.
1,280.
I make a motion to do that.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And thank them.
I heard the motion, but I don't know who did what,
Why?
because I can't see.
I made a motion to.
Sorry. Chad. Rich and Chad, in that order.
That's not Glenn, that's Rich.
I'm retired.
Okay, any questions on the parking lot?
Just, I'd like to, under the parking lot, add, it's salt shed / town barn. Mainly, we've talked, we did all the work for the salt shed, last couple of years and decided, that it's too expensive, we didn't put it in. It didn't make the problem go away, and I'd like to get it on our parking lot list, because that also, lets us continue to go out and keep researching and trying to come up with
Yeah, well,
a way to resolve the problem of
Yeah.
what we've got down behind the grade school. It's got to be addressed. So I'd just like to add it, and then we will continue trying to put some wheels on that.
Okay, I'll drop it down.
That's all.
I can tell you the zoning regulation, we are moving forward. We're having at least monthly meeting with, regional planner, what's his name? Ed Bove. He is going to branch that out to the town plan as well, so, the only thing I would say is that if you don't know, Dave Amy died, he was the chairman of the board. So that's we'll need to address that, but yeah, so that's that will be a little hiccup, but we are still working and making progress.
And at the last meeting, Bob, you asked about me getting together.
Yep.
I did reach out and will be attending the meeting on the 3rd
Okay.
to talk downtown designation.
Yeah, I think that's important that we get that going and we get that discussion going, because there's a lot of things that downtown designation may or may not need. Oh, and the other thing I should say is, Deb Liancona has resigned because she's gonna open up a place downtown, and she just feels like she's gonna have enough to do without getting involved with something else, and she's stepping back. So we'll need to get somebody there, but we'll get you. That needs to be advertised.
So right now, that brings the 5.
We're down to 5.
Yeah, the board can choose to make it a 5-member committee.
And I don't know what the boards, I'd have to ask those guys, and my personal opinion is that it's difficult because you can easily not have a quorum at 5. And, it's just, especially in the summertime when people are vacationing and running away. But more to follow on that. Next meeting is the 3rd, so we won't talk until then. Okay. Anybody else on that? If not, we'll do roundtable. Rich?
What about the Adams Street Place Bridge price then? Adams Street Bridge replacement, there we go.
Same old story, looking for funding.
Yeah, I've asked everybody, all the federal funders, nobody finds this to be a priority. Even when I tell them our fire department's over here and the ambulance is over there and our water and sewer lines go under it and it's an environmental hazard, they balk at it every time.
But if we're having, the main bridge is starting to have issues.
I know.
Don't we need to use
It,
that?
it sounds a lot more logical than the bureaucrats allow for.
I've thrown this at them too.
All the way around.
Exactly right. If something happens down, if there's a fire right there, we're just shut down and
Not to
nobody
mention
seems to.
That's,
Just now,
Literally.
yeah, and then the water and sewer lines go across there, but we're pushing, but we're getting pushed back.
The sewer line breaks, goes down the river. It's gonna be a pretty fun event.
Yeah, they'll know that. We're still trying, we're just not getting very far. And it gets more expensive every time we try.
right, but how much are we looking at right now?
It'd be close to 3 million.
3 million, yeah, 3 million.
And that's just for pedestrian, right? Or-
No, that would be for that'd be here, the two-way.
But still a one-way, I mean, like a one lane.
Yeah, it would be in the exact same, same footprint, so 1 lane then, 1 lane now.
Moving right along. Rich?
Roundtable?
Yeah.
The only thing again, I can't express, we talked about sidewalks, and last year I was on sidewalks for a while. Grape Street is real bad, Prospect Street's real bad, but I like Joe's idea, or whoever mentioned about using the school as the hub and prioritizing that way. But and I really think that we should pursue maybe a contract and a grant for some of it. I also think that if we could get a local contractor, say the DPW go in and dig it up, and a local contractor come in and form and pour it. Kind of like a two-pronged approach on sections. It'll help us catch up some. Just food for thought.
Just, the funding is the biggest deal.
It is,
You
there's
know.
no question.
It's just,
It's no question.
where do we come up with it? I don't know.
And with the paving and the roads that's gotta be prepped for paving, I mean, you drive around these roads, they're horrible, the ditching is horrible. They have gotta be caught up somehow, some way. Because if you don't, and throw that new pavement over them, that old, without ditching and drainage, you're just throwing your money away. So, that's a priority in my opinion. And I just wish more people would understand that.
May I just add something on the streets? We have some of the best streets of any of the towns around here. I mean, you drive in Rutland,
I don't
oh my
disagree.
God,
Our local streets in town
in town,
are
yes,
really good.
are
It's
awesome
our
compared
outlying-
to,
Our outer lying roads need some serious attention. And we have to look out for those people also.
Roseanne, thank you for saying that, because our roads are very good in that.